أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا ونبينا محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين اللهم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب زدني علما رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير ثم أما بعد الحمد لله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته Alhamdulillah, welcome to you all to another one of our Islamic Studies class, lesson number 37 tonight, in which we are covering the 5 pillars of Islam. Sometimes we are expanding, sometimes going into topics which are maybe beyond the 5 pillars of Islam, but this is to be inclusive of the environment, of the issues that concern us and our Ummah and our environment and our community and so on. Our today's discussion is connected to the chapter of Salah. And the chapter of Salah is about to finish. And of the last discussions in this chapter is about Salatul Janaza and how to witness the death of a muhtadar. A muhtadar is someone who is experiencing the moments of death and is about to pass away, is about to depart from this dunya. So how do we, as people who are witnessing such a situation, how do we behave? How do we help the mayyit, or how do we help the muhtadar? How should we ourselves, when we come to that situation, try to prepare for that? And then the following steps afterwards, which is also when somebody does pass away, when they are passing away, what is the talqeen that you do? How do you help them to pronounce the shahada? This is called talqeen. How do you thereafter, when they've just left the world, when their soul is just left the body, when they've passed, when they've died, what's the process? How do you close their jaws? How do you close their eyes? And then how do you wash their body? Of course, in this country there are regulations as to what you can do and when you can wash the body, because you need certification and documentation from the government offices, from the medical specialists and the doctors and so on. And so when that is cleared, how should you wash a person's body? This is also a discussion that we should all be aware of, though a lot of the times we don't actually have to do that ourselves. We have someone, for example, the funeral service, they will do all of this, but it's important that you know, because it's a fard kifaya, it's communal obligation. Fard kifaya, something that some people have to do in the community, otherwise everyone in the community is becoming sinful. So because fard kifaya is important that we know this, so that if the need comes, we are able to fulfill that responsibility. And also, if we need to also inform others, advise others, we can also do so, inshallah. Step by step, first and foremost, our life in this dunya is very temporary and it's only a preparation for the akhirah. You've seen the situation of the brothers and sisters in Morocco now. Just within moments, their lives were destroyed and many people died. We've seen Libya as well. We've seen how quickly the storm and the floods have come, destroyed, like literally wiped out, washed away. In the literal sense, washed away people's livelihoods, their lives and their existence from the face of this dunya. We're now seeing Algeria as well, there's wildfires. And then recently we've also seen Syria, the earthquakes in Turkey and borders of Syria and so on. And calamities after calamities, and we see, death all around us. And the ajib thing about human beings is that we see death all around us, but we think, I am safe. I think I am safe. I feel like I'm not going to die. Even though my family will die, my mom will die, my dad will die, my brothers and sisters, my children can die, but still you'll find a person still behaving in a way as if they are not going to die. Whereas the reality is, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Death is just there. It's just waiting. It could be any second. If Qiyamah is so close, then death is even closer. So for that reason, we need to first and foremost live our life as if we are preparing so that we are preparing for death. That's first and foremost. We should live every day as if it's our last day. We should pray every salah as if it's our last salah. It's very, very important to prepare for death. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has told us that we should excessively remember the thing that destroys all pleasures, and that is death. We should always remember it. And that is why you should attend janazah. That's why you should go to the graves, the graveyards, and to give salam. The ziyarah of qubur is also from the sunnah. So all of this. Yes. Now, in order for us to be able to prepare for our moment of death, the best preparation and the only preparation that we can do is before death. We can't prepare for death at the time of death. There's no preparation. Only at the time we can say shahada by mercy of Allah. Allah says, يُثَبِّتُ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِالْقَوْلِ الثَّابِتِ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ. Allah only can give you permission to say ashhadu an la ilaha illallah and then die. Only Allah can give that. It's not because you're hafiz, it's not because you're alim, it's not because you're imam, it's not because you're shaykh, it's not because, no. Only Allah can have the blessing and give the blessing of you saying shahada upon your death. Only Allah can give that gift. Allah says in the Quran, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. We're not allowed to die except for as Muslims. But how do we die as Muslims? I can't die as a Muslim except for by the mercy of Allah. That's why if you want Allah to have mercy upon us, upon our death, and to allow for us to die as Muslim, then we have to live as Muslim. Because you die the way you live. You die the way you live. If you live a crazy life, then you will die in a crazy way. Whereas if you live a good life of obedience to Allah, then Allah will allow for you to die in a good way. This is how it is. Allah is fair, Allah is just. And Allah will be fair and Allah will be just. If you live your life in according to Allah's instructions and the Prophet's teachings, then Allah will allow for you to die with saying shahada and go to Jannah, inshallah. So our preparation for death and the whole funeral process is from now, that we live our life according to fard we do, wajib we do, sunnah we do, nafil we do, haram we stay away from, makruh we stay away from, all of the bad things we stay away. And that's what it means to be Muslim. That's what it means to follow the Quran and to follow the sunnah, to follow the fard, the wajib, the sunnah, the mustahab, and to stay away from the makruh and the haram and so on. When you come to a situation where you feel like you are nearing your death, then one of the key things that we need to do when we feel like that is to remind ourselves of our faith and our tawheed. Remind ourselves of our faith and our tawheed. Remind yourself that I am only a servant of Allah. La ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. At any time when you feel like death is near, we should recite this dua, we should recite this dhikr, we should recite this kalima, this tawheed, this proclamation of faith. And that is why when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would go to sleep, he would also repeat these adhkar and these proclamations of faith, as we discussed also in our last week's hadith class on Thursday evening. So, as you know, sleep is the brother of death. It's like dying. So that is an example for us of how we should also be preparing for death. That when we feel like in an accident, when we feel sick, when we feel old, when we feel like this is my time, then instead of saying, screaming and shouting and swearing, yes, some people they're swearing and they're dying. That's because they're so used to swearing. They're so used to saying shirki kalam, kufri kalam. They're so used to saying, because they become their reflex. But if you train your tongue, train your body to say astaghfirullah, la ilaha illallah, subhanallah at times of difficulty, instead of saying, oh my God, and oh F and oh B and oh this. If that's what your body is used to, that's what you will say. That will be your last words. But if you're a good Muslim and you're trying to follow Allah's rules and you're in the habit of saying dhikr and la ilaha illallah, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, then you will say that. So you should prepare yourself when you're near your death by saying shahada. Also, when you feel like you're nearing your death because of old age, because of sickness, because of accident, because of this, you should not give up on any of the obligations until the last moment. Sometimes someone is very namazi. They pray their salawat on time. But when they come to their old age, they become lazy. There's a big fitna. Because it becomes difficult for someone. If Allah doesn't give them the steadfastness, then they can't hold on. Because it's very difficult. For you now, whatever difficulty you can imagine for praying at this age, when you're old, it will be 50 times, 60 times worse, 100 times worse maybe. Because you've got so many illnesses. Your body, every time you move, your body hurts. You feel tired, you feel scared, you feel all of these problems people face in their old age. So for that reason, we ask Allah's mercy, we remain steadfast, and remember this, it's not easy. You have to do hard work. For us to fulfill our commands and fulfill our duties until the last breath, we have to fight our laziness, fight our desire. Allah says, وَعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينَ. Keep on worshipping Allah until death comes to you. Don't give up. Don't become lazy. Don't slow down. There's no end, there's no break, there's no stop until you meet Allah. You will sleep for a long time in Jannah. You will sleep for a long time in your qabr. Until then, you have to wake up on time. Pray your fajr, pray your dhuhr, pray all of these things you need to do. So therefore, when you feel like we're coming to our last moments, we need to hold on to what we need to do. Fard, salah time, pray. Even if you are stuck in your bed, even if you're in your hospital, do tayammum, pray. Even if you are in bed, still pray. Because as you know, salah, you can't live it even if you are paralyzed. You have to still pray with your head movements. If you can't even move your head, then that's a separate situation. You have to pray. So don't let go of your fara'id. Remind yourself of Allah's tawheed. And this is very important. In your life, we're supposed to have fear of Allah and think about Allah's mercy. This is during the lifetime. But when it's death, when you're nearing your death, then we are supposed to remind ourselves more about the mercy of Allah. Be optimistic. In the hadith, the Prophet Muhammad says that none of you should leave this world, none of you should meet Allah except that you should have husnul dhan, you should have good opinion about Allah. Meaning when you're dying, even if you have mistakes, all of us have mistakes. When you are reaching a last moment, we must try and say, Allah, you will be merciful to me. Oh Allah, be merciful to me. Have good hope, good faith in Allah. Does that make sense? Have good faith. Be optimistic of Allah. So we've said three things. Continue with our routine as a Muslim until the end. Remind yourself of your tawheed towards the end. Be optimistic of Allah until the end. Now come to those who are now witnessing. Those who are around. As Muslims, a lot of the times we're witnessing death. Last night, one of my good friends from a long time, many years, many decades, his father passed away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, in Poplar. I went to their house in the evening. His father passed away in the daytime. And this is how it is. Yesterday it was him. And in 2012 it was my dad. We went to visit him in Bangladesh. He went to Bangladesh, he passed away there. And soon it will be someone else in your family. And then soon it will be you. It's like that. Life is very short. Life is very short, wallahi. 20 years went like that. I don't even know what happened. I'm saying this myself, my own self. Decade goes like that. 20 years go like that. It's September. It was January the other day. End of September. It's raining. Autumn is here. New Year's Eve was just the other day. Just the other day. We done a winter conference as well. Time is like that. This is from the alamat of Sa'ah as well. That time will go very quickly. When we come to visit someone who's passing away, what's the etiquettes? What should we do? How should we behave? When you go to visit somebody in a house when someone is very in sakarat, difficulty, this is not a place of joking. This is not a place of playing. This is not a place of golf. I've seen it too many times. Manche, mayyit barit kya golf shof, hashi kushi, safani. Having tea, having biscuits, having a chit chat. This is against the etiquettes and the manners and the moments of attending the home of a person who's about to pass away or just passed away. According to the hadith and the sunnah, we are not even supposed to expect food or drink from them. Rather, we're supposed to prepare food for them and take it for them, because they're experiencing so much trauma and difficulty. But what do? We go there, we sit there for hours, we do some dua, turad dua, short dua, and then after that it becomes a big doubt. And then everyone's on their phone, playing. This is not the point. The point is you are remembering that, yeah, Habibi, this is finished. It's done. This is the end for all of us. So when you go to attend someone's house and you know someone's passing away, someone's experiencing difficulty, nearing their last moments, then you should prepare yourself mentally like that. Go to their house with wudu. Go to the house with wudu, because you might want to recite tilawah. You might want to recite tilawah. You might pray salah there. You don't know. So go prepared. Go in a good state. Go in a good state. And furthermore, there's going to be angels attending. the person is part, Malakul Maut will be coming, and other angels will be coming thereafter. Malaika of Rahmah will be attending. So you have to be prepared. You have to prepare yourself in that way. You don't want to go there stinking and stenchful and lost and, in a crude way. This is something we need to take heed, brothers. Even in janazah, it becomes a place of social gathering. This is not right. So you go there with humility, with calmness, and with optimism. You don't go there and start giving negative talk. For example, someone is experiencing an illness. For example, they got cancer. You don't go out there and start giving, cancer, my fulan, my person, my uncle, my auntie had cancer and they also died. You're not there to make them feel negative and to make them lose hope. You're there to give them hope. You're not there to just to show how much you went through in life. You're there for them, to make them feel good, to remind them, to help them in all ways, to help them physically if they need help, to help them emotionally, to help them with dua, to help them with your spiritual support. You have to go with that mindset. When you go there, say good stuff. Inshallah khair. Inshallah khair. It will be okay. Because you're supposed to be optimistic. When you're dying, it's the last moment. You have to teach them, the mayyit, to be optimistic. Be hopeful. Inshallah, Allah will be kind. Allah will be merciful. Yes. Maybe you're supposed to say good stuff. Like, for example, perhaps your difficulty, Allah has removed your sins. Give them hope. Otherwise, if you're going to kill their hope, then you haven't helped them. Give them hope. Go with optimism. Go with energy. Go with willingness to help. Don't go there to chit chat. Don't go there to so many times I see brothers, wallah, it's shameful. After janazah, after this, after that, straight away they started pulling out their cigarettes and vaping and this, that. Come on, man, you literally just saw something and then next minute you're doing that. Even though you might have the addiction, have some adab, have some manners, have some akhlaq. Go away, far away. And then when you maybe forgot, then you want to do it, that's up to you. But not straight away. Where's the manners? Where's the dignity? Where's the honoring of the deceased? Even a non-Muslim would understand that. So yes, so you go with optimism, you go with, and then you go there, and when those who are sitting around the mayyit, instead of saying to them, say la ilaha illallah, you don't do that. You don't command them. You do something called talqeen. The person whose death is near is called muhtadar. The malaika are present, malakul maut is present, sakarat is taking place. Their difficulty you can't even imagine. You will only know when your time comes. Every single person will experience it. Even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to experience it. And he was sweating and he was fevering and he said, indeed, behold, for death there is sakarat, there is difficulty. Everyone has to feel that. So what they're going through, no one can imagine. No one will know because you can't go and come back. You'll only know when you've crossed yourself. So go with optimism and then say to them, not commanding, encourage them to say, La ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Say in a quiet, calm, soothing voice. Not loudly, not screaming, not shouting. Not too quietly as well. In a medium voice, in a comforting voice. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan. Like that. La ilaha illallah. Wahdahu la sharika lah. Say it so that they can hear it and they can copy it. Don't command them because they're in a different world. Why if they say no out of their pain? Then they have rejected your command and your request to say la ilaha illallah. So you do talqeen. Keep on saying it. Keep on saying it. Keep on saying it. What else do you do when you go to someone's house when they're passing away? Or when you go to visit someone who's passing away? You do talqeen. You also recite Quran in their presence. And one of the preferred surahs to recite is Surah Yasin. It brings comfort and peace. Recite Quran. Because when the Quran is recited, what happens? The malaika and the angels of mercy descend. When the Quran is recited, the malaika and the angels of mercy descend. And if the angels of mercy are present, then the environment is peaceful and the person's difficult time will become easy, inshallah. So recite Quran. Again, not in a shouting voice, not in a quiet voice. Recite nicely, smoothly. Recite peacefully. It's not a place to show off. It's not a place to do this. It's to recite sincerely from the heart for the sake of Allah. Talqeen, tilawa. Make dua for that person as well. Make dua for that person. Make dua for the person next to them. Give them optimism. Tell them you'll be fine. Inshallah, Allah will take care of you. Okay? So you go prepared like that. You go with optimism. You go and give them hope. You go and give them talqeen. Go and give them tilawa. Go and give them support, spiritual support, moral support. You don't dare go for a feast, as we've said before. And whenever I go to attend a Mayyit house, even if the person's passed away, I say, listen, this is not a place for feasting. This is against the sunnah. This is a place of mourning, of sorrow, of realization, of coming to reality, waking up from our slumber. Allah says that فَلَوْلَا إِذْ جَاءَهُمْ بَأْسُنَا تَضَرَّعُوا. When a difficult time comes, this is talking about adhab, of course, but whenever a difficult time comes, whether it be maut, whether it be illness, you're supposed to become softened for Allah. Some people, silly, they try to show that they're so strong at times of difficulty by doing what? By not becoming humble to Allah. Yes, you become humble to Allah, but you remain confident and strong in dunya. But in front of Allah, you break yourself down. Some people think, I'm so strong, I'm not going to cry even in dua, even though something crazy happened. I've had an accident, my family passed away, I'm ill, my daughter's unwell, my wife's unwell. Habib, you're supposed to become softened. The only place you're supposed to become softened and calm and small in front of Allah. That's not the place to show gangster. You do that, yes, in the dunya, you be strong, emotionally strong, but in front of Allah, you cry your eyes out. You break down for anything you need. You break down. You desperately return to Allah, resort to Allah. That's what you're supposed to do. And that is how you attend the house of a muhtadar. A muhtadar who's experiencing the moments of sakarat and difficulty of death. Once the person passes away, and those who are around are experienced enough to know that the person, their soul has departed from their body. Once the person has passed away, and those who are around are experienced and trained enough to know the person, because you don't want to be prematurely proclaiming the person dead, because this is another problem. What if the person is not dead? So leave it to the experts, those with experience with khibra, and they will say. So now, what I've said to you now in my words and explanation is more or less what we'll recite in the chapter itself, inshallah. It's a long chapter. I'm not sure if we will be able to cover everything in terms of the whole chapter, but we want to cover it step by step. And inshallah, at some point, maybe this week or next week, maybe next week or the following week, I want to, inshallah, deliver to you practically as well how we should attend a muhtadar, how the person should be washed, how they should be shrouded, how the janazah is prayed. This is very important. Look, mayyit. Everyone maut. وَلَقَدْ كُنْتُمْ تَمَنَّوْنَ الْمَوْتَ مِنْ قَبْلِ فَقَدْ رَأَيْتُمُوهُ وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ. Maut and death is everywhere. So when are you going to learn this? Now is the time to learn it, quickly. It is sunnah to direct the person on their deathbed, muhtadar, towards the qibla. Along with the things that we've just said, also what you do is try to face the bed of the person who's about to pass away. If that's their bed, then try to face their bed towards the qibla, such that their face, when they're leaning towards the right, is facing the qibla. At all times, when the person is passing away, you try to make them face the qibla, either on their side, or if they're lying down on their back, try to help them with a pillow or something, or a hospital bed, to raise their head towards the qibla. It might mean that the feet is also facing the qibla, but the idea is that the head is facing towards the qibla. That's what we're supposed to try and do. Either on the side or on the back, but with the head facing up, try to help them to face the qibla. This is from the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, such that he or she faces the qibla while on their right hand side. It is permissible, however, to do so while they are lying on their back with their feet directed towards the qibla, yet his head should be slightly raised with something. Then the shahada should be recited in their presence, as we've said, talqeen of the shahada, so that he may pronounce it. This is referred to as talqeen. It is also performed after his burial. So this shahada of talqeen, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. This is, you're supposed to recite it while they are passing away, and also after they are buried, just before they are questioning. Because as you know, the questioning of the grave is also true, it's a fact. مَا رَبُّكَ وَمَا دِينُكَ, and so on. When the person dies, when it's sure and confirmed that the person has died, his or her jaws should be closed and fastened, and their eyes should be made to be shut. Sometimes people die and the eyes are open. Sometimes their eyes follow up because they are watching their soul leaving. A lot of the times, a person, when they die, their eyes are facing up. That is because they've literally just seen their soul leaving their body and being taken away. So what we're supposed to do is, after the death and after the soul has departed, we're supposed to fasten their jaws, maybe with a cloth, something like that. Make sure the mouth is closed, not open, because a lot of the time it's open. The soul has been extracted. Close it and close your eyes too. Close it like that. Sometimes you'll open again, but that's fine. I mean, you can't, if it opens again, that's not a problem, but you should try to shut it. The one who's closing the eyes, when the person who's helping the mayyit after they've died, by closing their eyes, they should recite this dua. I'll recite the translation for you in a minute, but this dua in Arabic. Bismillahi wa ala millati Rasulillah. Allahumma yassir alayhi amrah wa sahhil alayhi ma ba'dah wa as'idhu biliqa'ika waj'al ma kharaja ilayhi khayran mimma kharaja anhu. This is the dua. Bismillah wa ala millati Rasulillah is a dua that everyone knows. Now, this is a serious topic, but I will share with you a side story, just so that we learn that we need to know when to say which dua. A few years ago, I went to a wedding talk. And one of the gentlemen that met me in the wedding house, he's saying salam to me, and he's meeting me in my hand, handshaking and hugging me. And there's a dua for handshaking and hugging in Islam. But he didn't know that dua, but he was reciting the wrong dua. He's handshaking me and he's reciting Bismillahi wa ala millati Rasulillah. I was like, in my mind, I said, SubhanAllah, it's an elderly person, I don't want to say anything to them because of course they probably don't know. But this is the dua that you're supposed to recite when someone has passed away, not when they come for wedding talks. Or maybe the plan was to. Anyway, just a quick smile. Anyway, let's go back to our topic. The dua is Bismillahi wa ala millati Rasulillah, which means in the name of Allah and on the way of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That's the first part. Allahumma yassir alayhi amra. Oh Allah, make this matter of his easy, because his journey of the next life is called life of barzakh. Oh Allah, make his life and make his moments, make this time of his life easy. وَسَهِّلْ عَلَيْهِ مَا بَعْدَهُ. And oh Allah, make easy for him that which is about to come after this moment, meaning questioning of the grave, presentation of his soul to Allah. The soul is, after it's leaving the body, is presented, taken into the heavens, into the skies, to be shown to Allah. And if it's a sinful soul, it gets thrown down before the first heaven. But if it's a pious soul, it is allowed to go up to Allah beyond the seven heavens, and it becomes fragrant, and all of the malaika, they welcome it throughout the heavens. And they say, what a fragrant soul, take it back to his body to be happy, to be pleased. So we're making Allahumma yassir alayhi amra wa sahhil alayhi ma ba'da wa as'idhu bi liqa'ik. And oh Allah, allow for him to be happy by meeting you. Waj'al ma kharaja ilayhi khayran mimma kharaja an. And oh Allah, make that which he has gone to better than that which he has left behind. Make his days to come, his akhirah to come, better than the life that is left behind. This is the dua that a person should do when they are closing their eyes. Allahumma bismillahi wa ala millati Rasulillah. Allahumma yassir alayhi amra wa sahhil alayhi ma ba'da wa as'idhu bi liqa'ika waj'al ma kharaja ilayhi khayran mimma kharaja anhu. Next, what do? A person may die in different situations. Not always is it that the person is dying when they're fully covered. Sometimes they may be in an accident. They may be somewhere in the sea, on the ocean. So the first thing you do when the mayyit is passed away, after you've closed your eyes and done talqeen for them, is to try and cover their awrah quickly. Because sometimes their body is exposed. For a man, we know what the awrah is from the knees, below the knees to the navel. If you can cover more, more. For a woman, it's her whole body, with the exception of her face and her hands. But if you can cover that, then you should. But her awrah and his awrah should be covered. The rest of his clothes are then removed. Now, this next part is talking about the washing of the body. Inshallah, I'm going to make that separate for next week, inshallah, because we've done quite a heavy topic so far. About how we can prepare for our own death, briefly. How we can attend the muhtadar, or how we should prepare for being the muhtadar, and how we can attend the situation of a person who is muhtadar. How to do talqeen, how to close their eyes, how to close their jaws. Inshallah, in the next segment, next week, we shall talk about how to wash their body, how to pray their janazah, and how to dig their grave, how to put them in their grave, how to make dua for them after they're buried, and how to walk away as well, and how to also do ziyarah. These are all topics. It's very important, brothers and sisters. So if you feel like this is a helpful topic, please invite other brothers and sisters to join us next week, same time, after Maghrib Salah. Because a lot of people were living in ghafla, in heedlessness. Inshallah, Wednesday after Maghrib, next week we'll be talking again about janazah and so on. I will see you then. Are there any questions for today? I know some brothers have come for other questions, not related to the topic. If there aren't any questions on the topic, then inshallah I will see some people now. Barakallahu feekum. Subhanakallahum. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.